Hello everyone, I welcome you all to this series of lecture. In earlier lectures, we have discussed about the robot anatomy. We have seen that robot is made up of three sections. All are imitated from the human anatomy. The first one is body and arm assembly. The second is wrist assembly. Third one is end effector. End effector can be as simple as human finger. It can be mechanical fingers, and it can be a tool. There are a number of applications of the robots that we've seen, ranging from basic pick and place operation to the complicated jobs such as arc welding, spot welding, spray painting. These are some of the example of the robots. Other things we have seen is the joint control system, the robot control system, the precision of the robot, the movement of precision of the movement of the robot, how we define the precision of the movement of the robot. We have seen the sensor used in robots in brief, and we have seen some of the application of the robots. In this section we are going to see the kinematics of the robot. We have seen the basic configuration of the robot, that is body and arm assembly, the wrist assembly, and the end effector. Now we are going to see the kinematics. In kinematics part, what we see is we discuss about the position and orientation of the end effector or the tool in 3D space. Generally, a robot is move is moves in 3D space to complete the defined task. To carry out the defined task, it has to go through a planned trajectory to manipulate the object or to do some kind of processing operations. Before we design a robot, we need to know the trajectory and the path it is going to follow, so that we can put that robot in particular operation. So for these, we need a kinematic model. A kinematic model nothing but a description of, of a position and orientation of the joints and links. So we have two things here: the forward kinematics and the inverse kinematics. In forward kinematics, what we study is the positional orientation of the end effector or the tool with respect to fixed reference frame, and in terms of the joint values. Joint value is the angle between different points. We know the angle between different joints, and we find out the position and orientation of the end effector in the forward kinematics, or we can call it direct kinematics. Both are the similar thing. The next is inverse kinematics, that is the inverse or reverse kinematics. Inverse kinematics, what we do is we find out the joint values, means the angle between different joints, while the position and orientation of the end effector is known. So from that uh, position and orientation of the end effector, find out the corresponding joint values. That is called reverse or inverse kinematics. In kinematics part, we don't study the movement and the forces that causes the motion. We only focus on the finding out the position and orientation of the end effector. First, we need to know the position and orientation of the end effector. To know this position and orientation of the end effector, first we define the object location. Object location is nothing but the position of the point in the coordinate system. To define a position of point in coordinate system, we need a coordinate system. So here, for this purpose, we are going to use Cartesian coordinate system with right-handed set of vectors. The right-handed set of vectors means it is indicated with the, if you take your right hand, and the thumb will indicate z-axis, while the fingers and the palm will indicate the x and y axis. Thumb indicates the z-axis. Suppose we need to define a position of point in space. There is a point P and here for our convention, our reference, we refer all the frame with some character. So this frame is called A frame. This XYZ axis is called A frame. We need to know the position of point P in frame A. This here superscript is defined is indicating the frame A, while P is the point in the space here. To define this position of point P in frame A, we need only three coordinates, x, y, and z coordinates, as simple as that. So this position is defined with the help of a vector. P is a vector in frame A, and Px, Py, Pz are the coordinates or the components in x, y, and z axis. So that is how we define the position of point in a space. So this is simple intermediate mathematics, right? The orientation, if there is a 3D body, not the point, so we need to define the orientation because point doesn't have any volume. So we need not to define the orientation. If there is a 3D figure or 3D body in the space, we need to define the orientation of that body. In case of robotics, what we have is end effector. End effector is a 3D body, and we define the orientation and the position with respect to reference frame. The reference frame may be attached to the base of the robot. The reference frame is attached to the base of the robot, and one more frame that we will attach to the end effector. So the end effector can be rotating, can be translating. If we define the position of the frame that is attached to the end effector with respect to the base frame, that will be that will be sufficient to define the position and orientation of the end effector. To describe the orientation, we need another coordinate system. Here, suppose we have a box in frame B. So if this frame is that is attached to the box is frame B, while the frame A is the fixed frame, and frame B can be rotating, can be translating, or it can be rotated and translating both. PA is the position of point P. Here we call it P point, the origin of this frame B. The box is attached at the origin. So PA will be sufficient to describe the position of the point or the position of the box. While the orientation, there is if this box is not oriented see in this example it is oriented parallelly. All three axes, all three side of the this box are aligned with the x, y, and z coordinate. If it is not so, if it is not aligned with the x, y, and z axis of the frame B, then we need some kind of matrix to define the orientation of the box B, orientation of box in frame B relative to A. So this matrix is called that defines the orientation of box B relative to A is called rotation matrix, and that will be sufficient to define the orientation of the box B, box in frame B relative to A. That matrix is called rotation matrix and given by 3 by 3 matrix. Here the summary is here is position is defined by a vector while the orientation is defined by a matrix. So let us see this thing in detail, how this matrix looks like for 2D and 3D geometries, 2D and 3 coordinate system, 2-dimensional coordinate system and 3-dimensional coordinate system. There is a point and there is a body. So let us just before we go into deep about this to specify orientation position of the any body, we just discuss the basic transformations. Here basic algebra is that this orientation matrix can be transposed in the transpose of the matrix is equal to the R matrix is rotation matrix and A B here are the frame. So the R, the rotation of A relative to B is equal to rotation of rotation matrix R B relative to A. the transpose of B related to A is equal to A related to B. Rotation matrix A related to B. So that is the same. Here, if you find out the inverse also, we get the inverse just by transposing the matrix. So now here, just basic rigid body transformation we are going to see here. So there is a point xj in space and yj in space in 2D coordinate system, two dimensional coordinate system. If we translate that point by some p value and the q value, p is in x coordinate, is in y coordinate, then we get some new coordinates xj and yj star. So if we can represent that in matrix, the vector form xj star yj star can be represented as xj yj vector plus pq vector, p and q vector, and the position of new point pj, we call it the point pj, and coordinates are pj plus v. So this matrix is called v, this vector is called v, and this is called pj. The new coordinates will be this. Further, if we see further now, the rotation, here you can see two axes x and y, simply two coordinate system, 2D coordinate system, and we see a position, point of position of point pj. So pj is here, xj and yj, and angle from the x-axis alpha. So this angle is alpha. If we rotate this point from this point to the new point, that is called pj star, that the coordinates are xj star yj star. If we connect this with the line, the length will be same because it is in the circumferential, the rotation is around the circumference of the circle. So the L will be length, length is same, right? And this angle rotation is theta, so we have rotated the pj with an angle theta. The new coordinates are xj star yj star. If we apply the mathematics, the xj star, the new coordinate in x direction, will be L cos theta plus alpha. Total angle is theta plus alpha. If we expand it, we'll get this L cos alpha cos theta minus L sin alpha sin theta, and this cos alpha is basically xj and L sin alpha is yj. So we can modify it and rewrite this as a xj cos theta minus yj sin theta. Similarly, yj star can be written as L sin theta plus alpha and can be expanded and written as L cos alpha sin theta plus L sin alpha cos theta. Again, this cos alpha is xj and sin alpha is yj. L sin alpha is yj. Okay, it can be rewritten as xj sin theta plus yj cos theta, or these two can be written in the matrix form. The new coordinates are xj yj star, xj star yj star, and cos theta minus sin theta cos theta, 2 by 2 matrix, multiply with the xj yj, the old coordinates. So this matrix, the cos theta minus sin theta cos theta, is called rotation matrix, and this is for 2D, a two-dimensional coordinate system. Here R is the rotation matrix. Here you can see cos theta minus sin theta cos theta, and the rotation is about the z-axis. Z-axis is coming out of the board, coming out of the paper, and it is in the z directions. So rotation, we are rotating about the z direction, right? So this is the rotation matrix about the z direction in two-dimensional space, right? Now next is, we see simple translation. Translation is nothing. We have a lamina here, it's ABCD, for example. We take a lamina, so we move the lamina by some point P, 4 3. Just we add the this coordinates of the translation. So we move by 8 comma 5. Just we add 8 comma 5 to all the ABCD points, and we'll get the new matrix. So new coordinates of these points will get the new coordinates, and just this is the summation of two matrices, right? Earlier there was a multiplication of two matrices. So to join these two, what we do is we convert this addition or summation into the multiplication. So if we can add one more dummy row here, so xj star yj star 1, this is the dummy row here, 0 0 1 is also dummy row. If we can add the dummy row and this matrix here, so it can be converted into the multiplication. And if both matrices are multiplication matrix, both can be written as a one matrix, and that matrix is called homogeneous transformation matrix. So this is called homogeneous coordinates, xj star yj star and 1. This is called homogeneous coordinates. Because why homogeneous? Because it is converted into multiplication matrix and it can be used for all the matrices. Here again, if we convert the rotation into homogeneous matrix, it can be written as xj star yj star 1 cos theta minus sin theta 0 sin theta cos theta 0 0 0 1 and the vector xj yj and 1. If we go back to the rotation, again the rotation again can be written as same thing here we have seen. This is the rotation about z axis. We can write this as a cos theta minus sin theta cos theta 0 0 1 and here the dummy row. So this is the rotation about the z axis. If it is the rotation about x axis, it can be written as here. Rotation about y axis can be written like this. You have to remember these three metrics of rotation about x, y and z axis. We can derive these also separately, but just for just you have to remember it so that you can do it fast. This matrix is translation matrix for three direction. We have seen for two direction, PQ and 1. When we have translation in three direction, just we add a R here. R is third direction, PQR. The coordinates in three direction, PQ in x and y direction, R is in z direction. And for rotation about z axis in three directions can be written as one more row and the column is added. This is called dummy row, dummy column. To convert this into 3D, here also same thing. To convert this into 3D, one dummy row and dummy row column is added. Now, if some object is having translation as well as the rotation, so what we can do is just multiply these two matrices and we get a matrix that is called homogeneous transformation matrix. The homogeneous is why? Because it is doing the both the transformation, the rotation as well as the translation. Now we have seen the rotation matrix, the translation matrix, and we have seen what is homogeneous transformation. Again we come back to this point at the end of this mapping. Before this because this is an important topic, the mapping is nothing but we already seen some hints in the earlier slides about is mapping is nothing but finding out the position in different frame. We have two frames, I need to find out the position in another frame, that is called mapping. To map the position and the orientation from one frame to the another frame, so that is called mapping simply. So we come here, this is the frame B. We denote XB, YB and ZB. So subscript XB, B is XB for B frame, and this is the position point P in frame B. If I want to know the position in frame A, I need to know the this vector PA. PA I need to know because this is the length. This is the coordinates that will show the position in B. If I know the position in B, I can find out the position in A with the help of this vector. This can be written as first what we need to do is PPORG is the position of point P at the origin. So this B ORG is the origin. ORG is the origin, and the origin of frame B. If we know and we know this, we can get the PA just with the triangle law of the vector addition. We know this location of the origin of the frame B with relative to origin of the frame A, and the position of point P in frame B. If we add these two, we can get the position of point P in frame B relative to A. We can write it as a, we have two frames in different orientation. So these are the two frames. Both are parallel. The orientation is same. PB is here. A point P is that is described in coordinate system P. So it is defined in coordinate system B, and we want to know with respect to A. So what we do is just multiply with the rotation matrix. If you multiply with the rotation matrix, you will get the orientation of these point in A frame. If there is a rotating frame that involves the rotation between frame, so earlier in this frame there was a rotation as well as the translation. See here, there is a rotation here and the translation. If there is only rotation, so this one only involves the rotation. See here, this only involves the rotation. This is the whole translation as well as rotation. Rotation only, just multiply with the rotation matrix. If there is a general frame involves both translation and as well as the rotation. There is a translation of the point, and here the rotation of the frame. To get the general in the general frame, general mapping, we need two things: the rotation multiplication with the rotation matrix and addition with the translation. For these two kind of two things, the rotation and the translation, we need homogeneous transformation matrix. A homogeneous transformation matrix is a combination of rotation and translation. In robotics, we don't need this thing. This is the one is scaling and one is the, this is the reflection and the scaling. The one is for scaling. Here, this represent the reflection, but we don't need these things. We only need rotation and translation. These are required in the uh, computer graphics. When we study the computer graphics, these two are required. However, in this case, we don't need these two things. These the we already established these two metrics. This is the translation, this is the rotation matrix, and the multiplication of both these two is called homogeneous transformation matrix. Now, to represent the orientation, we need some certain parameters. So these parameters are alpha, beta, and gamma angles. These are the angle between the orientation of the object. So we have three axes here. There are two methods that are very popular to describe this orientation of the frame, orientation of the object. One is roll, pitch, and yaw, RPY angle, or other one is ZYZ. You can call it Euler angle. So first method, each three rotation will takes place about the fixed axis. First one is, there is a one frame A and frame B. So frame B will rotate the about an angle gamma, and then rotate about an angle beta, and then rotate about an angle alpha. So here there is a two frame X A Y and Z A is A frame, X Y B and Z B is the B frame. Both are both is having same origin. If we rotate frame B relative to frame A by an angle gamma about the x-axis, there is one rotation. Another rotation is about the y-axis. Another is about the z-axis by an angle alpha. This is called roll, pitch, and yaw. And we find out the rotation matrix. So this is the rotation matrix cos alpha. C here is cos. S here is sine. Cos alpha, sine alpha, cos alpha. And this is the rotation about the z-axis. This is the rotation about the y-axis, and this is the rotation about the x-axis. And alpha is angle, that is rotation about the z-axis by an angle alpha, by an angle beta about the y-axis, and by an angle gamma about the z-axis, about the x-axis. If you multiply all these three, we get the total transformation matrix that will give you the rotation if it is rotating about the all three frames. The second method is Euler method. In Euler method, there are a number of ways. The most common is ZYZ. In this method, we have fixed frame, A frame. So we rotate B frame about ZB by an angle alpha, then again by beta and then gamma. There is rotation about YB, ZB, and again ZB. So first is about Z axis, again Y axis, and then again Z axis, and we get the matrix after the multiplication. So these are the matrices that will give you the orientation. And here C alpha cos alpha, C beta is cos beta, C gamma is cos gamma, and S represent the sign. Before we go to the other section, just let us do some numericals so that you will get the idea what we are studying till now. So there are two frames here, XY, XA, YA, and Z. X and YA. Just we are discussing about the two-dimensional coordinates, and XB, YB. So this XA, YA is called A frame, XB, YB is called B frame, and there is a point here in frame B. This is the point in frame B, and the coordinates are 0, 2, and 0. The coordinates are 0, 2, 0. What we need to find out is if it is rotated uh, by an angle 30 degree, by an angle of 30 degree about the z-axis. So this frame z-axis is coming out of the paper, right? So it is rotated in this direction. In this direction, so it is rotated in this direction by an angle of 30 degree. So this is the point here. Next maybe is the point, and this angle is 30 degree. So this is 30 degree rotation. Then what is the next? What is the position of this point after the rotation? The known position is 0, 2, 0. The x, y, z coordinates of this point. After the rotation, what are the coordinates that we want to know? And it is rotated in frame B relative to frame A. Frame is fixed, frame B is rotating. So let us say that frame B is rotating, frame A is fixed. So we know the rotation matrix just simply rotation mode z direction is cos theta minus sin theta cos theta. This is the matrix we already know. If we convert this into homogeneous coordinates, just we add a dummy row and dummy column. Right? This is the dummy row. This we added to convert this into homogeneous coordinates. And just what we do is just put the thetas as 30, find out the matrix and multiply with the given vector. 0 to 0 is given coordinates of the point. If we multiply with this one, we'll get the position of point P in frame A. This is simple numerical, just This is the multiplication of rotation matrix. Here the general frame mapping involving general frames that we already discussed here. Again, it is explained here. There is a this is the origin here, and these are the y x and z axis. This is the point PB. This is the PB org. This defines the position of origin. If you multiply this PB with the rotation matrix, what we will get is the position of point P in A frame. The rotation is mapped with the help of the rotation matrix, while this is just added to get the translation. So there are two things here. One is the multiplication with the rotation matrix, and other is adding the translation matrix. Again, what we can do is just combine these two matrices and directly multiply with the original matrix. So we'll get the new matrix that will give us the position and orientation of the new point. The point in frame A. This is the point in frame B. This is in frame B. This one is in frame A. If we multiply with the homogeneous transformation matrix, we'll get the position in frame A. So we need to only thing we need to remember is homogeneous transformation matrix that will involve the rotation as well as translation. If there is no rotation, delete the uh, there is no translation, delete this part, just multiply with the rotation matrix. If there is a no rotation, only involving there is a only translation, just delete this part. So just we need to define the simply in summary. What we do is there are two frames, one is rotated, one is translated. Another case is general case. In the frame is rotated as well as translated. If there is a rotation in frame, there is a rotation matrix that we need to multiply. So these are two frames. Here there is one frame, another one is this frame. This is rotated frame. This the frame is rotated. This is the A frame, and this one we call it B frame. There is a point here in B frame, and we want to know the position and orientation of this point in frame A. This is defined in frame B. So these here there are coordinates here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Some coordinates are given here, and this is the y-axis for this frame. There are coordinates here, and suppose the coordinates of point B is 3, 4, right? 3, 4. But these coordinates are defined in frame B, right? But we want to know the coordinates in frame A. I want to know the coordinates in frame A, right? So what we do is just multiply with the rotation matrix. So this rotation matrix will take care of the these coordinates, this rotation, and will give you the coordinates in the frame A, right? So the coordinates in frame A will be different, right? See here 1, 2, 3 will be here, right? So here the coordinates will be different because we are defining in frame A. So that is why we need a this matrix, rotation matrix, to define the orientation or and rotate and the position in frame A. And there is a translation, we need translation matrix. And there is a both thing, there is a translation as well as the rotation. We need a matrix that is called homogeneous transformation matrix that will take care of the rotation as well as the translation. So you need to remember only two things, a rotation matrix and the translation matrix, and a homogeneous matrix. If you remember the homogeneous matrix, you should be able to identify which part of the matrix is translation and which part of the matrix is rotation, so that you can delete whichever is not necessary. If there is only rotation, you just delete the translation part. If there is only translation, you just delete the rotation part. If there is there are both the things like the translation as well as rotation, just you multiply with the point that is given with the this transformation matrix, and you get the point in the frame, in the fixed frame, right? We have done a numerical here. The points are 370 in frame B. In frame D. These points are defined in frame B. These points are in B. Right? This is the here 7. X-axis. Sorry, there is 3, and this point is 7. This is 3. This is 7, and these two are defined in frame B. So distance from origin is 3 here and 7 here. Right? 3 and 7 here. Right? But I want to know distance from this point. Right? So this is very big. This is going to be very big distance because there is a huge distance here, right? Distance between this frame and this frame, right? And there is a rotation also. So this here, if we see here, this frame is rotated. See, there is an angle between this frame and this frame. This is, if these two are parallel frame, then you don't need any rotation vectors, but here there is a rotation. So to take care of this rotation, we need a matrix that involves two things: rotation as well as translation. So this matrix involves the rotation. Sorry, this matrix is the rotation matrix. Cos theta minus sin theta 0, sin theta cos theta 0 0 0 1. Right? And here this involves the translation. Right? So we have a rotation matrix, we have translation matrix, and a dummy row. A dummy row is added to make it into homogeneous coordinates. So here, this is our final matrix. If we multiply with the PB, we'll get uh, the position of this point in frame A. Okay. Next thing is, next class we have seen the transformation and how to define the position and orientation in different frames, related to different frames. In next class, we are going to see the forward kinematics. Okay. So thank you for now. Okay. Thank you everyone.